Good morning. Just morning. I'm going to clear up a few things because there's a lot been going on and a lot of lies from politicians. And I say lies because somehow they've got the idea that if they put a law through their parliament, it's not assented to, it's only a statute and it has no value in law and it's a load of rubbish. To stop that, we have to actually take it to court and get a court to decide. The problem is we don't have any courts. Why don't we have any courts? Because they're all under seizure. Because none of them are under the Crown. None of the judges sitting in them, none of the magistrates, and none of the politicians. So what I've got in front of me is the evidence that they have to. Now first I'll refer to this piece of garbage, which I call the Mucus Constitution. The reason I call it the Mucus Constitution because it literally is a load of rubbish. It contains the actual Constitution, but all the text around it is opinions. Opinions like Anne Termy and a heap of other so-called experts calling themselves professors at university, who quite frankly don't have a clue in hell what they're talking about. When they teach people the Parliament is supreme, and they talk about the supremacy of Parliament, they are actually lying. Because if you've got the Constitution and you've read it, you are lying if you say the Parliament is supreme. Because the people are the highest authority. And the Constitution is not a control on the people under any circumstances. Nor can a law of a Parliament, if it was lawful, take away the rights to free speech or anything else. You have no control. Comprehend that. By forcing it, you are committing treason and fraud on the people. The reason I'm moving this is because I need to put some books away as I go through them. This book says the annotated Constitution of the Australian Commonwealth, as a result of the 1988 Constitutional Convention held by political parties. Hang on. If it's a constitution of the people, where's our input? We didn't have it. And it says, revised edition, Quick and Garrett. Well, you know, Dr. John Quick died about 1934. Sir Robert Garran died about 1957. So unless you had a time machine, it's not authorised at all. You're lying again. Nexus, Lexus, Butterworth, who cares who produced it? It's actually produced in China. Why? Why is it produced in China? If it's our constitution. They only have to change one letter in some places to take away our ownership or rights or anything else. But you give it to China. Why would you? Because you're thick. There's no other reason, you're thick. Or too dumb to realise what the possibilities are. So then it comes to this one. And I'll refer to this one as I go because this is the one has 9 clauses. The Constitution, same as the green one. But it has the interpretation according to the people who put it together. Now, referendums, we have not had one lawful referendum since Federation because we've never had a lawful federal parliament. I've explained it, and you people don't want to listen, that's fine. I'll still keep explaining it. Aboriginals in the Constitution, yes, I'll get to that in a minute. Now, the Transfer of Land Act, you can pass whatever acts you like. We can ignore them because you have no authority over our land inside the boundary. Clause 8 of the Constitution says when the colonies become states, the Boundaries Act no longer applies. How come we've got electoral acts, electoral boundaries? We don't. They're in the state constitution, but under 106, the states are allowed to retain their constitutions subject to the Commonwealth Constitution. The Parliament is subservient to the people. The Constitution also says neither the federal nor the state parliament are sovereign bodies. They're legislatures with limited authority. And if they attempt to pass a law in excess of that authority, the law is annulled and affords no obedience. Aboriginal Heritage Act, Land Act, all these acts you're passing, the yes vote, no vote, who cares? Because you cannot have a referendum till you have lawful state parliaments whose representatives create a federal parliament, and you don't have it. You must have 6 states sitting under original constitutions, which lawfully constitutes them, and none of them are now, to create the federal parliament. You don't have it. Till every state puts their constitutions back in place, there's no state laws. and there's no representatives of the 6 states, which is required to create the federal parliament. Aboriginals are in the Constitution by way of the state constitutions. Are they in the federal one? Yeah, they are Australians. Whereas the people is everybody inside the borders of this country. So that's all I want to say on that. Now, an act to constitute the Commonwealth of Australia, 9th of July 1900. Why is it an act? It's an enabling act for us to put a constitution in place. Enabling act. Understand in law, if a country claims to own this country, whether you like it or not, England claims to and has taken that position. We had to put a constitution together because we wanted one. We wanted to federate, have our own entity, slightly different from England, but still under the protection of the Crown. So we did that. We put it together. It was taken to England. Queen Victoria got it, added 9 clauses, added a couple of sections guaranteeing us direct access to the Privy Council, and issues letters patents for the office of Governor, instructions to the Governor as the superior person in the parliaments of the states, the Governor of the states. No one else, not the Parliament, the Governor of the states. So when the Parliament claims to be supreme and sovereign, it's not. It's just a pack of liars run by political parties, and in fact they are foreign agent government entities registered with Foreign Agent Registration Act of America and trading in here with ABN numbers as private businesses. Joe Blow trading as. Joe Blow just happens to be the political parties and all those donkeys. And they have no rights. Our Constitution, which is this one, came back and we, by vote, put it in place. Jacinda said, I think it was Jacinda, said that Aboriginals weren't asked. Well, the Aboriginals couldn't comprehend. They couldn't speak English. They couldn't write English. They couldn't read English. So Queen Victoria saw the problem and answered it in this Act. An Act to confer a constitution on Western Australia and to grant a civil list to Her Majesty, reserved the 29th of April 1989, Royal Assent proclaimed 21st of October 1890, this one. And it was cemented in place in this form, original form on the 29th of October 1900. Under the Statute of Monopolies, but under Imperial Law, the Colonial Laws Validity Act, no colony can change an act of the British Parliament. If there was an authority granted in here, it was sealed when this became a letters patent. You cannot change a letters patent without first going to the source. Now what I did this morning is I went through and documented a lot of things, because this says every member of the Legislative Assembly and Legislative Council has to swear the oath of allegiance, and that is section 22 of the original Constitution, which is a letters patent. Now when you look at section 22 in here, or section 22, no member of the Legislative Council or Legislative Assembly shall sit or vote therein until he has taken and subscribed before the Governor or some person authorised by the Governor in that behalf an oath or affirmation of allegiance in the form set in Schedule E to this Constitution. Well, Schedule E to this one is the one with 32 sections missing. The interesting thing is, when you look up this one, we've got Schedule A, B, C. Oh, no Schedule E. It was never there. It was never there. Fraud by the Parliament of Western Australia at Federation. When they put this one in place with 32 sections missing, they added the oath as a schedule to this Constitution. So they added to a Constitution an Act of the British Parliament. What does it say in our Constitution, page 701 to 703? I didn't actually lay out the exact position, but it says, even if the Colonial Laws Validity Act had never been enacted, it was beyond the legislative authority of any colony to change an Act of the British Parliament. And we're still a colony. Clause 8 says when the colonies become states, the Boundaries Act no longer applies. So all the boundaries, electoral boundaries in this, and in this one even, are removed. However, when the Commonwealth is established, it's established as a self-governing colony of England, and the Boundaries Act then applies. The Constitution says, whereas the people. It should read, whereas the people, no matter what colour, what race, or where you come from, as long as you assimilate, follow our customs and beliefs, you're an Australian. That's what the Constitution says. We need to promote it. Stop going to the government and saying, oh, I'll remove this from an act. Throw the act in the bin, get the hell out of our parliament, sit there lawfully under the lawful state constitution, or pack up and get out. Most of you got citizenship to another country anyway. You throw half of them out of parliament because of it, and you've got it. Howard had a skull cap. No, where was his allegiance? To Israel? That's fine, that's his idea. But he couldn't sit in our parliament according to what they did. Bob Hawke was the same. How many lawyers are in our parliament when our constitution said they should never be there? Why won't the people of this country, if lawyers ever get control of our courts and parliament, have they? Yes. Should they be there? No. Time to wake up, people. This country belongs to we the people. No one else. Not we the parliament, not we the greedies, not we claiming to have all these extra rights.
And God owns everything.
Yeah, well, God is the crown. He owns the whole world. He created it. You don't believe that? That's fine. You're allowed to believe what you like. Now, I'll tell you something else. And you better be aware of it. We the people own this country. We the people can make it great. We the people can stop behaving the way we are before the WHO, United Nations and One World System walks in and takes everything off us, and we the people are left with nothing because we the people are too stupid, too argumentative and too ignorant to stand up and say, no, you're not having it. Time to wake up. There is only one sovereign nation on record in this country, and it's created by this.
So to not put this to a vote is to concede defeat. You only win when you run on the field and engage. And let me tell you, my government is engaged. We're all in.
Monuments put from pen to paper turns me into a godless wonder.